My first video on the new bench. Well, the display or the panel is the same, but I have moved it over to a new location, and I've built an easel that these panels, which will all be approximately the same size, can sit on top of. And I've constructed this power box, which is the basic power supply that I had on the bench, and it's sitting on top of here with what we call dagger pins in the avionics industry. And I made this box to prevent myself from getting shocked out of an old World Cup cabinet that somebody had parted out. Nothing goes to waste here at Chris Hibbler Pinball. This metal box is from a Stern Striker Extreme. So it had all the line filter stuff and the MOV, the on-off switch most importantly, and a fuse. So this is very handy now for I can put a different power supply up here if I'd like, but this thing powers everything on the bench, including if I need to hook up a display, the high voltage. So let's do one thing first. No, we'll do that last. So we're going to try to boot this. And right now I've got Leon's ROM in IC17 position, and I have 2532 and 2732 Leon ROMs because this socket, typically it came from the factory with the 2532, but you can put a 2732 in there by jumpering per the pin wiki. Anyway, the Leon ROM is in here now, and it's doing what it should be doing. It's turning that 0 on and off. You can see the orange LED is blanking that I've added, and it's flickering also. It's not very easy to see, but I put it in there because the board will do nothing but boot into audits. Even if you run through all of the audits and adjustments and back to where the board should boot, it still boots into audits. So there is a problem with the memory or access to the memory on this board. So let me show you what happens with Leon's chip in, and this is his latest version that's got the memory test. I'll focus in here. And I gotta press the correct button. So it tested device 1 and then 2 successfully, and it hung while testing device 3. Now that means, I think, I'll have to verify this in the pin wiki, that this 5101 is bad or access to it is bad. So let me do some additional investigation and we will see. So I looked at that 5101 part when I got it back to the bench and found it was an AMI branded part. Those things are falling out at quite a high rate these days. So I put a SCM model in there, and I have Leon's test ROM still running. So let's see what the test looks like when all the memory is correct. It goes 1, 2, 3, testing the two 2114s and then the 5101, and then it returns back to the normal testing of the PIAs. Now, if I were to put a logic probe on to these PIAs, I happen to have one connected, we would be able to see that each of the pins of these PIAs 2 through 17 would be pulsing just like that. No, I'm not going to do the rest of those yet. I'm going to put the game ROM back in and see if it works. The AMI 5101 RAM in my Neolock tester, and let's test it. Who'd have thunk? Finally back on the bench with this System 7 board set, Black Knight. As I recall, it's been a while since I was off visiting grandchildren. I have a new 5101 in there, which I already mentioned, and I've replaced the IC17 with the game ROM. So let's boot it up and let's see what the LEDs look like and the displays at the same time. That is a normal boot. The orange LED is the blanking LED. I still need to put a label on that so that the user knows what that is. The lamp matrix is operating properly. There are no coils turned on except for coil number 16, which is a coin lockout coil. Interesting, when I put this in on free play, coil 16 will extinguish because the coin lockout coil is not required any longer. And when I do the test, it'll come around to that coil and it'll turn it off, and then if I wait long enough, it'll come around and turn it back on. Score displays are oscillating between, well, that's an interesting effect. In the camera, it looks like they're kind of scrolling, but in real life, they are not. So let's put it into test. And the first test is display test. Wow. I wonder if that's because of these fluorescent lights, but I can assure you that test is working correctly in real life. And the next test is sound test. I do have the soundboard connected. There are no sounds at 5, 6, or 7. The Williams system 3 through 7 system only used 5 sound selects ever. Here's the lamp matrix. You know what? I'm doing this with a new iPhone, so maybe that's the difference between the new phone and the old phone, but this lamp matrix is operating correctly versus what it looks like on the video. Now let's go over to solenoid test, I think, yeah. And I have this new board. I really love this board that Victor put together, and it's laid out to match the component layout on the driver board. So I know that, for instance, solenoid 16, as it's arrayed here, is the lower right transistor on the driver board. So it has gone through a full sequence of tests, and I'm driving it from the switches now. That is working perfectly. And the next test is switch test. I'm going to go through. And again, that does not look right on the video. That's switch 28, 37, 46, and Black Knight goes through switch 46, so that is all the switches. So now I can advance to, I think it is adjustment 18, yeah, and hit the credit button until this gets to 100, 00. If you pass it, you got to come all the way around again, no big deal. But you will see that the solenoid 16 is no longer illuminated. Well, it just made a liar out of me. But I should be able to start a game. Let me make sure that that audit took. That was interesting. 18 is 00, yeah, huh. Maybe it's different with the System 7 board, but it is on free play. So thank you so much for sending it. I greatly appreciate it.